God can work in your pain. God can work through your pain. If God has to work around your pain, but God can do it. It's not only time to worship, it's also time to witness. Who is in your life that you need to share your faith with in the midst of your midnight? Thirdly today, not only is it time to witness, and not only is it time to worship, but thirdly, it's time to walk. This is good. I almost missed this. It's time to walk. Pastor, what do you mean? Look at verses 35 and 36. Here's what it says. When it was daylight, the magistrates sent their officers to the jailer with the order, "Release those men," the jailer told Paul. Release those men. The jailer told Paul, "The magistrates have ordered that you and Silas be released. Now you can leave. Go in peace." Now, we already read how the story ends, but I want to camp out on this point real quick. Because here's what concerns me about many who have been in their midnight. God has released you. The chains are off. God has set you free. God has opened the door for you to walk out and to get out of your jail, to get out of your prison, to get out of your midnight. But there are some in the body of Christ who will say, "You know what? I'm so used to being in this jail, I think I'll just stay here." Some of you got that. I've met people whose identity has become their midnight. Their identity has become the jail cell. Their identity has become the very thing that keeps them bound. And even though God has set them free, they refuse to walk out. They refuse to leave because they're so used to being in the cell. They're so used to being in the midnight. They're so used to being in the prison. They don't know how to act unless they are miserable. They're not happy unless they're miserable. There are people that would not know what to do if they would walk in the freedom that Jesus has for them. And maybe it's because God forbid, we have a victim mentality. Maybe we really enjoy the attention that we get from being in the jail, from being in the prison, from being in the midnight. Others of us, we don't like it. We just don't know how to function outside of it. And then I read verses that tell me that he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I read things where it is never the Lord's intent for us to remain in the jail. He wants us to walk out. Can I ask you today, has God set you free? Has he broken the chains only for you to kind of set up a post office box right there at the jail? And I think the Lord's intent for each and every one of us is that, okay, what I have brought you from, don't you dare go back to. Oh, I should say that again. What God has brought you from, don't go back to. And when he tells you to move on, move. Go. Don't even mess with that anymore. If something has you bound, if something has you just totally caught up in bondage, you need freedom. Jesus is here to set you free, but you got to walk. You got to walk. Get out of that. Get out of that. If he has set you free from pornography, then walk away from that pornography. If he has set you free from an addiction, then run. Don't even walk. Run from that addiction. If he has set you free from anything that has control over you, then get away from that and walk in the freedom that you have in Jesus Christ. It's time to walk. Walk out of your prison. You're not that person anymore. You're not an inmate anymore. You've been set free. So walk in that freedom. Walk in that freedom. Are you hearing me this morning?